If you replay conversations in your head hours later, if one small comment can shift your entire mood, if you look calm on the outside, but carry irritation in your chest for the rest of the day, you probably feel tense, tight, quietly reactive, maybe even frustrated with yourself for caring this much. You tell yourself you shouldn't be this sensitive. You tell yourself mature people don't get triggered. Everyone else seems composed. Everyone else seems stable. And maybe you've wondered if something is wrong with you. Maybe you've thought, why can't I just let things go? Maybe you've labeled yourself as angry, or dramatic, or weak. And the part that's hardest to admit, it's not even the big betrayals that get you. It's the tone, the subtle dismissal, the look on someone's face, the feeling of being misunderstood. And afterward, you feel embarrassed for reacting internally. So you push it down. You tell yourself it's nothing. But it doesn't disappear. It lingers. It hums under the surface because somewhere along the way, you were taught that emotional control means emotional suppression. You were taught that strength means not reacting. You were taught that calm people don't feel anger. But that's not true. You were never taught what anger actually is. You were never taught that irritation is information. You were never taught that being bothered doesn't mean you're broken. So instead of understanding your anger, you fight it. And the more you fight it, the more it grips you. So let's slow this down. There are 3 things you need to understand. First, your nervous system is not a moral compass. It doesn't measure character. It doesn't measure maturity. It measures safety. Your nervous system operates in states, not personalities, not flaws. States. When you feel anger, your system is activated. Fight mode. Your body senses threat. But here's the important part. Threat does not mean danger. Threat can mean loss of respect, loss of control, loss of certainty, loss of belonging. And your nervous system evolved long before boardrooms and social media. It evolved in tribes where being excluded meant vulnerability, where vulnerability meant death. So when someone dismisses you in a meeting, or talks over you, or makes a cutting joke, your body reacts as if something serious just happened. Because in ancient terms, it did. Your system is not trying to embarrass you. It's trying to protect you. Second, anger is a boundary signal. Think of it like a smoke alarm. It's not the fire, it's the alert. The problem is, most people either rip the battery out of the alarm or let it scream for hours. Very few people walk into the room and calmly ask, "What's burning?" When someone interrupts you repeatedly, that irritation might be saying, "I don't feel respected." When someone cancels on you last minute, that anger might be saying, "My time matters." When someone minimizes your effort, that heat might be protecting something vulnerable. Anger is often grief wearing armor. It guards what feels important. And third, you are not reacting to events. You're reacting to meaning. 2 people can hear the exact same sentence. One shrugs, the other spirals. Why? Because it's not the words, it's the interpretation. If someone says, "That's not how I would have done it," one person hears feedback. Another hears, "You're incompetent. You're not good enough." That interpretation links to memory. Maybe a parent who criticized, a teacher who embarrassed, a moment you still carry. So now you're not reacting to this moment. You're reacting to accumulated history. Your brain connects patterns faster than your conscious mind can intervene. Anger often isn't about now. It's about then. Picture a woman in her early 30s, capable, professional, steady. In meetings, she stays composed, but when a colleague subtly dismisses her idea, she feels heat rise in her chest. She smiles, says nothing, but the rest of the day, her shoulders stay tight, her jaw clenches. That's not immaturity. That's an old narrative being touched. Or imagine a man who prides himself on reliability. A friend jokes, "You're always so intense." He laughs. but inside he feels irritated because growing up, intensity was criticized. So now it feels like rejection, or someone scrolling through social media, watching friends succeed, travel, celebrate milestones. They close the app feeling irritated at everyone, but the anger isn't at those people. It's at the story forming underneath. I'm behind. Anger attaches to the closest visible target, but it rarely originates there. If any of this feels familiar, if you've ever wondered why small things hit so deeply, pause for a second. Notice something. Do you tend to explode, or do you implode? Do you express it outwardly, or swallow it and carry it alone? Either way, you're not alone. Now, here's the harder part. Even when you understand this, it's still exhausting. Being easily bothered drains energy. It strains relationships. It creates distance, and comparison makes it worse. You see people who seem unshakable, unbothered, untouchable, especially online. They say, "I don't care what anyone thinks," but most of them care. They've just learned to mask it differently. And today, we are overstimulated. Your nervous system was designed for a small tribe. Now it processes thousands of opinions daily. Tone, conflict, politics, success displays, micro-judgments. It's constant. Of course you feel activated. And then there's time pressure. You think you should be more evolved by now, more regulated, more calm. But emotional regulation is not the absence of activation. It's the speed of recovery. Let that land. Regulation is not never getting triggered. It's returning to baseline faster. So the goal isn't to never feel anger. That's unrealistic. The goal is to not be owned by it. Let me give you a model, not a checklist, a framework. 3 layers. Layer 1, trigger. Something happens. A comment, a delay, a look, neutral event. Layer 2, interpretation. Your brain assigns meaning. They don't respect me. I'm being excluded. I'm not valued. This happens instantly. Layer 3, identity. This is where it deepens. It's no longer, "That was annoying." It becomes, "This always happens to me." This confirms what I feared. And once identity gets involved, anger intensifies. So how do you become unbothered? You don't eliminate triggers. You don't suppress emotion. You intervene at interpretation. You slow it down. You create space between event and story. Instead of, "They ignored me," you try, "They might be distracted." Instead of, "They disrespected me," you consider, "They may have different priorities." This is not denial. It's flexibility. And flexibility reduces anger. Rigid interpretation fuels it. There's another helpful image. Emotions are waves. They rise, they peak, they fall. If you don't feed them with rumination, the chemical surge often passes quickly. But when you replay the story, justify it, build a mental case, you generate another wave, and another, and another. So instead of fighting the wave, you learn to surf it. Notice the heat, the tightness, the urge to react, and internally say, "This is activation," not "This is truth." That shift creates distance, and distance gives you choice. Zoom out even further. Human beings evolved in unstable environments. Sensitivity kept us alive. Reading subtle shifts in tone mattered. Belonging mattered. Your reactivity is not a defect. It's an ancient survival system in a modern context. The world changed faster than your biology. The goal isn't to erase your system. It's to update it, to gently teach it. This is uncomfortable, not dangerous. There is disagreement, not exile. There is tension, not extinction. The calmest people you know, they're not emotionless. They simply don't build identity around temporary states. They don't say, "This always happens." They say, "That was interesting." They choose what deserves their energy and what doesn't. There is nothing wrong with you for feeling bothered. The work is not becoming numb. The work is becoming spacious, so anger can move through you without living inside you. If you're ready to stop apologizing for your emotions, but also ready to stop being controlled by them, drop a compass, not because you're broken, but because you're learning to navigate.